Stop remembering the unit circle. The unit circle is a scam. The more you memorize, the less storage you're going to have in remembering the major, most important concepts. You're going to forget the important stuff that the IB won't give you on the formula booklet when you're doing your IB exam, or even operating your calculator. Apparently, a lot of people don't even know how to properly use the calculator in paper 2 math. So today I'm gonna help you guys out with presenting you with an alternative to the unit circle. So in the unit circle, you draw, again, you have the 4 quadrants, and then you have a question which says solve for sine pi over 6. So you get to sine pi over 6 and you want the answer. So again, you're going to have to go back. I'm going to have to go back and memorize the unit circle and then learn what this is. And then I'll make a silly mistake by putting in the wrong value for sine pi over 6. And I will lose marks. But you don't have to remember the unit circle. I will show you an alternative method in solving sine root over 6. So, I usually call this method the ancient Chinese method because it was taught to me by a Chinese teacher who gained the knowledge of this method from his Chinese teacher. So I like to call it the ancient Chinese method. So the method is quite simple. We basically begin with sine, and then we go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then cosine goes under it, and we basically write the same thing, 0 to 4, but in the opposite order. So it goes from 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And then we add a root. We plug in on top of the root the special angles being 0, 30, 45, 60, and 9. And then we divide this whole thing by 2. Now, the pi over 6 is given to us in a radians form, not in degrees. So I want my answers in degrees. So, and this depends on how you're being presented with the question. Is it radians or is it degrees? And you should know from degree to radian, it's basically your angle multiplied by pi over 180, pi over 180 to give you your rad. If it's radians, it's basically your radian value multiplied by 180 over pi to get you your degree value. Now, let's go on to solve sine pi over 6. So, to solve pi over 6, we know we take the value pi over 6, which is in radians, and I want to convert it to degrees. So I do that by multiplying the radian by 180 over pi. So the pi's cancel out, that leaving me with 180 divided by 6, which is 30. So 1 over 6 rad converted to degree is 30 degrees. So I can't you can't put just 30 degrees onto your exams. You have to give it in a non-degree form, in a fraction. So what this looks like is we will look at my ancient Chinese rule. Now, a phrase to remember this, before we move on, a phrase to remember this is Sally can't remember special division. So the S is sine, which is sine from 0 to 4. C from cant is the cosine of 4 to 0. The R is for the root. The S, the other S, is for the special, so special angles being 0 to 90 degrees, 0 degrees to 90 degrees, and D being divide by 2. So I'm gonna move this over down so I can have some space. Now, so we did establish that root over 6 is 30 degrees. So I'm going to look at the ancient Chinese rule. And looking at my special angles, I can see that, okay, 30 degrees, we look here, it falls under this table right here. Now, I'm interested in sine and not cosine, so I can eliminate this section right here and focus on here. So the only non-crossed area is sine, which is 1 and 2. Now, because we have the root, I'm going to have to leave my answer as sine of pi over 6 is going to equal to root 1 over 2, which equates to 30 degrees. Now, we know we've established that root 1 is 1. Again, you should know this. If you don't, then it's concerning. But we know that root 1 is just 1 over 2, which is half. So sine of pi over 6 is equal to 1 over 2, half, or 0.5. But in an exam, it would be better and safer if you put in 1 over 2 in a fraction instead of in decimals, because you don't know how generous the IB can be in terms of if they would accept it or not. So always just put it in a fraction. So once again, I'm going to write it down at the bottom. So I'll get rid of this here and I'll write it again. So Sally, so S for sine, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cosine, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. R, so remember for the root. And then special, which is the special angle, so 0, 30, 45, 60, and 90. And division for dividing this whole section by 2. And there you go. And again, we found pi over 6, sine pi over 6 by. Multiplying pi over 6 by 180 over pi, which gave us 30 degrees. We then looked at our ancient Chinese rule and saw 30 degrees in terms of sine would be, so we would draw a loop around, and then we would draw another loop for sine, and it's 0, root 1 over 2, which gave us 1 over 2, half. Again, if you guys have any more questions, please feel free to put them down in the comment section. Thank you.